Good morning. I'm live. How are you guys doing today? I am so glad to be here. I've been really excited about this topic. I think it's a topic that we, as consultants and so forth, we often don't completely have under control. So I want to talk about this today. I want to really talk about how to make your business, if you're a business owner, make your business your number one client. And so I want to talk about that a little bit because I've been doing this for about 20 years. I'm starting to feel a little old, but I have been doing this for a while. And one of the things from the very beginning as a consultant, when I first was sitting in my little apartment in San Antonio, way back in 2002, and I just quit a really kind of, good job, I guess, and moved all the way across the country and started my company. I'd always wanted to have a business, and so I was really excited to get started. But the problem was that I didn't know anyone, and oh my gosh, my phone's ringing, of course. I didn't know anyone in the city that I moved to. I didn't have any clients. I didn't really have a whole lot going on for me, so I needed to be a known quantity so I could find some clients pretty quickly, and that was really a struggle. And I remember it pretty vividly, sitting in my apartment and looking out the window. And I always talk about this, but there was these mud swallows that had built a nest right outside my window, and I felt like they were the only friends I had in town. That's the truth. At the time, I just felt really alone. And I felt like, I was never going to make it in some ways. Like it just felt like a really big uphill battle. And so if you're in that position, um, there's hope, number one. Number two, if you are a little bit further along, there's hope, but you also know that there's still struggles to come. And that's just part of owning your own business and being a consultant. But one of the things that I've just talked to so many people that are my peers, and I also would love to know who's here, by the way. I'm going to look at the comments, so make sure you tell me if you're here. But one of the things that really became clear to me is that I was kind of like, working all the time. So like when I finally did start getting clients, it was really exciting because I was like, yeah, you got clients. And then I started working my butt off, if you want to say that, to please them, to make sure that they were taken care of and that I was doing a good job, and that they would continue to hire me and all of those things. And what ended up, hi, Selena, what ended up happening was, I just put my head down and just was working my tail off for the client, right? I wanted to make sure that they were getting the best they could get. And then I forgot to promote my own business. And then this is what happened. So I would, kind of go up and up and up, and I get more clients. And then I'd be so busy that I couldn't do all of the marketing kind of things I knew I needed to do for my business. And in fact, I even knew how to do them in some ways. I mean, I had to learn some things, but overall, I mean, I was a public relations professional. You'd think that I know how to like promote something, right? So, and I, working my little tail off for my clients. Here I am. And then as it is with clients, you finish a project or something ends or whatever, some new person comes in and they hire their best friend or whatever, and you are a consultant. So they, that's the beauty of consultants for companies is they can hire them and they don't have to be committed to them for, as an employee. So you just boom, then all of a sudden you're here and you're like, okay, I've got to get back up that hill again. And then, so you have to go back out and start climbing the hill. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is how can we do this? How can we make our business our number one client? How can we treat our own business as if it is one of our clients? Do you hear me here? I feel like we don't do that enough. I feel like we put our business last on the list. So we have our client list, and then at the bottom we have if I have time for it, I'll do something for my business. It's kind of a thing, it's absolutely 100%. And so how do we get there? And I've heard the saying, that we are like children of the cobbler. They don't. The cobbler is so busy making other people's shoes that they forget to make shoes for their kids, or something like that. And I don't think that we should put ourselves in that position. I think as business owners, we need to take control of this and put ourselves a little bit higher on the list. What do you guys think? I mean, I really think that that's important. So I've written a few things down that I want to talk about today that I think are important to keep our mind on as we're moving forward. And having done this for years and years and years, and doing the bumps and bridges. What I've found is that when you consistently make your business your number one client, then you don't really have those bumps anymore. I mean, during COVID, we lost one client because of their travel and tourism. And of course, travel and tourism, uh, the bottom fell out of that. So I totally understand that. But overall, I gained clients and I even hired people during the pandemic. And the reason why is because I've, learned this lesson. I've learned it the hard way. I'm going to be honest. I've learned this the very hard way to keep that going. So I'm going to go over a couple of things that I've come up with. So I don't know where you are on this thing. So let me know in the comments if you're here, and if you watch and replay, definitely let me know. The funny part about this is that I think a lot of people will watch this in replay because, again, we're so busy with our own clients that we don't take time out. We don't take time out to make our own business the number one client. So I know that people are at different places in their businesses. So if you're a business owner or are doing something on the side, so you may have a side hustle, do you have a strategy? So some people have no strategy at all. They just kind of show up and sort of wing it. That's just sort of, there is no strategy. You just wing it. You show up on social media or wherever, or you call people, or you say, hey, you tell your friends, hey, I've got this business and I have room for clients. Okay, that's no strategy. Or number two, do you have a strategy? Like, kind of what you should be doing, like, what you want to do, but if you're not super consistent about it, like, it's okay because you're busy, right? Yeah. So one, yeah, you want to be consistent. Yeah. Agree. So that's two. So you have a strategy, but you're not super consistent. And then number three, maybe you're consistent with your strategy. When you do put your strategy on and you keep it up, then you're just exhausted. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. Like, it's only 24 hours in a day and something has to give. I mean, I've been there, so I'm just gonna be honest. Sometimes I'm in number three. It's kind of a normal thing in seasons of your business. And then number four, you're consistent and getting results all the time and easily. So there is a sweet spot where you can be consistent, and that is enough to keep you in top of mind for your clients and for future clients, to the extent that you're not really working so hard to get new clients all the time. And when you do have to go get a new client, because maybe something happens, okay, so that always is there, it's a lot easier because people have you kind of in the top of mind. So that's kind of the four stages, I think, of most business owners. And I find that for creative professionals, marketing, PR, anybody that's doing SEO or photography or does a public relations company or has a social media company like mine or whatever, that we are particularly susceptible to some slumps in this area because we do know what to do. Generally speaking, people come to us for counsel on these kinds of things. So we even have like strategies for other people. But for ourselves, we don't do it because we are so busy helping other people. So, and then that brings out the guilt and the shame and all of that feeling of like, I should be doing this and I'm not doing this. And then you watch other people and they're doing it and you're thinking, I'm just as good as what they're doing, but I don't have as easy of a time at it. It's a disaster because we are not being honest with ourselves that we need help. We are not being honest that we absolutely need support in this area. And so I have been thinking about this for a while. I want to be that. I've been doing this long enough to understand exactly how this feels. And so I'm going to be putting together a small group of people that really are interested in, like, I want support on this and I'm willing to make my company absolutely number one. Hey, Nick, how are you doing? Thanks for dropping in. You know about this because I talked to you about this behind the scenes. So this is absolutely what I'm wanting to do. Is I want to say our businesses are just as important as our clients' businesses. And I've been doing a little bit of that myself. So I've actually put a team member of mine in charge of helping us to, putting Zoetica, my company, as a client of our company. So we are absolutely 100% calling our business a client in our company and allocating resources accordingly. So I do have staff at this point. If you are all by yourself out there, I totally understand. You're overworked, you're stressed. I know exactly how that feels to you. And you maybe have all these great clients, or maybe you don't. Maybe you have clients that you wish that you didn't have to work with, but you do because, you know, you need the money. And so there's a lot of things that go on with that too, like clients that there's scope creep and they're, you know, doing it just takes up your time. And there's all this issue, all these issues around that too. So I want to talk about that too. I want to talk about how it is that we can, you know, get ourselves to a place where you only have to work with people that you actually want to work with. And that's really, really critical for a consultant and a freelancer. And guess what? You know, who's good for you to work with might not be good for someone else. So there's a consultant for every client, right, out there. And I do feel like we should not be so competitive with each other in that way. Like certain clients belong with certain people. That's just sort of how I feel about it. I feel like it just shakes out the way it should. And so how do you do that? How do you go out there and attract people and clients that you actually like to work with? I was just talking to a almost new client. She's going to be signing on here in a couple of weeks. And we hit it off immediately. It was very clear to me that she was going to be a great client for our company. And so, you know, you want to have that. You want to have people coming to you like that. She came to me through word of mouth because I'm visible like this. And so I do it this way, which is out here. I come once a week and I do a live stream and I talk about a topic, but I'm very strategic about the topics I pick. And so that's one of the things that I would like to work on as a group is how do you pick the right topics for you? How do you do all that? And also, how do you get support? So I do have a team, which is awesome, which means I can actually bring this into my business and offer something like this and then have these things to support you too. So I am really excited about this idea because I want to help people that are in my profession. And by the way, I've been doing that for years anyway, mostly for free online, and that's awesome. But there's something about getting stuff actually done rather than just hearing about it. Like I can tell you today all the steps, and I've got several of them here. I've got an entire sheet of the steps. But the problem is that I'll tell you, and then you will run out of time and you won't do them. So I'd like to do something where we have a get it done kind of mentality. Let's pick one thing, work on it for that month, and then get it done. And so I'm very excited about this idea. I don't know if anybody else will be, so let me know if you are. But I'm going to put up a little a crawl here with a link so you can get on the list of people that I'm going to be talking to. We're going to be doing this probably in the next couple of weeks, honestly. So I've just set up, like last night, I set this up quickly so that I could show this to you. Let me see if I can get myself. Oh yeah, the crawl's on the bottom now. You see it. So I'll just let that crawl for a bit so you can write it down. But the main thing is that, you know, we need to have a system by which we can do our visibility content and then have enough energy left at the end of the day to do all the other things, the work, the clients, all of that stuff, right? So, you know, I'm just going to run through a couple of ideas that I have here, and you can write them down and hopefully you'll do some of them. But really at the startup phase, when you start this kind of a visibility kind of project, you need to really be focused in on the platform that you're going to be using. So for me, I multi-stream to multiple platforms, but for you, you can do the same if you want. And it doesn't have to be video per se. You could choose a podcast, or you could choose a once a week video like I'm doing, or you could choose, you know, to do a blog. So I think one of those three are the best because they show thought leadership. It's not just posting about things, although that helps. It's not really, you know, establishing you as a thought leader. So number one is those three things. One of those I would pick. And maybe some of you have other ideas. Throw them in the comments if you think there's one that you would prefer to do. I'd be happy to comment on it. But for me, it's really about either the video coming once a week, the audio podcast and thing. That's great because you're in people's ears. It's very intimate. And then the third thing is really blog posts where you're writing your thought leadership. And you can even do some of these things for as a contributor. So like to Inc. magazine or Forbes magazine. I do some Forbes work. So, you've got to think about where you want to appear. And then at first, in the startup stage of this, you don't want to do all the things. You just want to pick one and do it well and do it consistent. And then that moves you from startup to what I call standout. So when you're in the standout stage, you have a plan, nothing fancy, just this one platform, one channel, one kind of content, and you're consistent. So you're doing it consistently. And I would say it takes about, 2 to 3 months before it really starts to like implode or explode, excuse me, not implode, where people really start thinking about you whenever they hear about things. So if you're very clear about your content and it's strategic, so you don't just get on and talk about anything, you have to be really strategic about your content. Once you do that, then people start to think of you like, oh, I know somebody who does that. You should talk to Cami. And that's a lot of what I get with my referrals. So I get almost, 100% of my business for the agency comes from what I'd call word of mouth and referral. And I can trace each one of our clients back to exactly what kind of word of mouth came from that. And it all was sparked from what I'd call visibility content. So that is incredible. And then you can add some things to that as you go along, like workshops and events and things like that. But really, if you just start simple, it's so much more doable if you start simple. And I do think you need to be out there weekly. If you're not out there weekly, people kind of forget about you. It's easy. It's not that you're not, awesome. You're probably awesome. I know you're awesome if you're here. But some people feel like they just don't remember you when they need to, right? So you want them to remember you when they need to, and you want them to be so clear about what you do. Okay, so raise your hand if you're this person. Do you know somebody online that's really cool and you love them and you talk to them all the time, but you have literally no idea what they do? Like that happens to me all the time. There's people that I know online and I can't quite place what they do. And because I can't place that in my mind, I can't refer them to anything. You understand? Even if I like them, even if I think they would be a great person to work with, I don't know what they do really. And I may be kind of wrong about what they do, so that's really the key. So if you're out there, you need to be talking about the thing that you are wanting to be referred to. And then then you go to the strengthen stage. So you've got the startup stage, and now you're standing out, you're doing great, everything's going well, and now you want to strengthen your business and grow it, right? So at that strengthen stage, you're starting to add in more systems to the process. So as you add in more promotion of your brand, you have to have better systems and probably people to help you out with it too. Even if it's a VA or a really like a even Upwork person or Fiverr or whatever, you need to have people that are helping you with all the little details, and you need to hire them and pay them to do this, because it's going to free you up to get out here and do that visibility content, but not have to do all the little things like, put everything in the autoresponder so that it goes out at the right times. And, when you do all of the little things, it eats up your time, which makes it hard for you whenever you're talking about client service and all that. So you want to strengthen your company at this point. And that's really what it is. Even if it's like 5 hours a month. I started out with a VA, like 5 hours a month. And what really pushed me over the edge, I kept thinking I couldn't afford it. And you might be thinking similarly if you are smaller. And I just kept thinking, well, I can't really afford to hire someone. And so what changed my mindset about that was I was doing all these little tasks for a client. I still remember I was doing some spreadsheet work and some other things. And I thought, I could teach somebody how to do this. And so I went down with a piece of paper and I wrote down, I can get a VA for $20 an hour, whatever it was at the time. I'm just putting that out there now because it's about $20, $25 an hour. And you can even get them less if you want to. There are a lot of people that in the Philippines and other places that will do for less. But, if you pay like $25 an hour, $20 an hour, I charge like $125 an hour to my clients. And I was just writing this down on a piece of paper and I thought, wow, if I got a VA to do these 2 or 3 hours of work a month from the client, under my supervision, then I'm charging like $125 an hour. So, I can then take that money, the extra money, and, pay up the rest of the hours. And I have that VA for like 5 to 10 hours a month, and it's paid for. It's paid for. It's billable hours. And I get somebody to help me. You hear what I'm saying? It's a little very, quick thing. Yeah, Nick, I know you can get them pretty cheap, $3 an hour. Yes, I know when you're in Thailand. So yeah, and that's exactly right. So you can get somebody to help you. And I really, 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 really ask you to drop that mindset that you can't afford it, because you absolutely can and you absolutely should. So as you get to the strengthening stage of your business, things are going to be going well. You're going to be growing. You're going to have some word of mouth is going to start coming in. Maybe people are going to start inviting you to speak at conferences or whatever. I mean, that's happened for me. I speak probably, I don't know, a lot, about, 10, 15 times a quarter, for other people's events and podcasts. And I just got an event invite yesterday that I filled out with a panel of people that are, people I know and people that you probably know too. So it's great. I mean, you start to get that kind of notice. People notice you, right? But that takes some time. So as you go through the strengthening stage, I think from startup to standout, like where people start noticing you, doesn't take that long, maybe 3 months. But from standout to strengthen, like it's going to take you a good, 3 to 6 months to kind of really strengthen your business, get your systems in place, have a strategy that is bringing the right people in, and then something happens. I've been through this a couple of times. You're building, then there's momentum. Then you fly into momentum. And when you're in momentum, you're really starting to get those word of mouth referrals coming in, probably more business than you can actually take. You may be turning people down, telling people you can't work with them for a while. And this is where, unfortunately, you are most vulnerable, because when you're in momentum, you may stop the visibility content because you're busy, because it seems like, well, I shouldn't be putting on more fire whenever we're in already a busy season. So you stop doing it. And then what ends up happening is then you're way up in this momentum wheel and you crash. So that is absolutely where you must continue your momentum or your visibility content. You can stop for a very short period of time, but if you don't pick it back up pretty quickly, you're going to kind of like crash in the end. And I know this because I have the same tendency. It's just like, if the medication is working, you think, oh, I'm well. And then you stop taking the medication and you're like, well, maybe I'm not so well. So that's really the key. And then, where we're all headed toward is mastery of this. So do we get to the point where we have a team, we're doing this on a regular basis? It's just part of like our everyday life. And so that's really the goal, is that you are going to this place where your business is happening with just a little bit more ease. You're not so stressed out. You're not so worried about where the next client is coming from. You're not so worried about anything like that. And so that's really what the end point is this idea that not that everything's going to be easy. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're a business owner, honestly, there's always going to be something. So you can't do that, but you can inoculate yourself from the worst of it if you put these systems in place. And so I'm always putting new systems in place in my business. I'm always refining the ones we have. I was just working on one the other day, like, this needs a system to it. And so I was thinking about what that's going to be. So I think in terms of systems now. I used to think in terms of, I kind of prided myself in this, which makes me laugh now. I prided myself in that for every client, I had a bespoke solution, like I would customize it for every client. Well, now, honestly, I have a process by which we put all the clients through, and we can make small tweaks for them. But the truth is that they like it better. They like it better because it's predictable. And because I've done it so many times, like our social media strategies and all these kinds of things that we do for clients, they work, that I know they work. They're proven to work. And so I just know if you do this, like exactly what I'm telling you now, I know if you show up every week and you serve people in one of those three ways I talked about, you will grow your business and it will get better. 100% guaranteed. And I know that's a big claim, but I just know it's true. I know it to be true because I've done it multiple times. I've done it multiple times and I know it to be true. So, that is what I wanted to talk about today is how can we make our business our number one client, going from all the way from startup to mastery, so that we can have a business that we can run with a little bit more ease, a little bit less stress, without our hair falling out and all of that. So that's really what I wanted to talk to you about. And, when we are more calm and we are more kind of less stressed out and everything, we serve our clients so much better. We have the capacity to serve them so much better. And I think that, running the little rat race and the wheel and trying to keep up with everything and really like kind of hating ourselves for not doing the things that we know we should be doing. I mean, everybody I've ever talked to tells me this. They're like, yeah, I should be, putting more effort into this and maybe even try to do it. But you need somebody to hold you accountable. And I'm kind of willing to do that. So I hope that you might be interested too. And so I'm going to be talking more about that over the next couple of weeks. Next week, I'm actually going to be running through my funnel system and sort of how I run it. I've been talking about this for about, a year or so now, teaching people how to put this together. So for the next two live streams, so next Thursday, I'm going to be doing the first part of the funnel. And then the next week, I'll do the second part so that you have a funnel for your business. So definitely be there. And there you go. And so now questions, and I have my first one. So yay. Hey Juan, what do you say to someone who's very nervous about investing in the business? Yeah. So what I say about that is that we need to come over the baby steps, right? So first of all, you have to invest in your business for it to grow. My business did not really start growing until I got employees, and I know you have some. So I did not really grow until I invested in that. And so I didn't have to get them full time at first. And believe me, for many, 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 many years, I've used contractors. I've used part-timers. I've used people that were building their own business on the side. You know that for sure that I did that. So I've used people that, were willing to give me like 20 to 30 hours a week. I did that for years. And the reason that I did it was because I finally realized that if I didn't, my business would never grow. So it is a conundrum and you will have a little fear at the beginning. But again, like I just said before, there's ways to kind of bill out that person to like a current client where it covers the costs for you too. And that can make you maybe feel a little bit more comfortable. So you may give up a little revenue, but it's going to really gain you back a lot more revenue within 2 to 3 months, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's, I don't know, Juan, did that help? So I just feel like that we are so less likely to invest in our own business or even in ourselves sometimes. And I don't think that the martyr thing is really working, so that's my thought. I mean, if we continue to be martyrs to our business, then we're never going to grow and it's always going to be stressful. And I know so many people that have gone back and gotten a job because they aren't willing to take that step. They aren't willing to take the step to invest in their business and make that happen. And here's the thing, the investments aren't huge. The amounts of money aren't huge that you have to make to invest in your business. They just really aren't. And almost always they pay off. And I make these investments all the time. All the time. I'm like constantly learning. I'm constantly taking courses or, workshops or whatever it takes. I mean, I'm not too, what is it? My ego's not so big that I can't think there's something out there that I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of things and I've been through a lot of things and I have a lot of knowledge about things. But the truth is that, almost always when I sit through a course or different things I'm doing, I learn so much. I mean, I learn little things that I'm like, oh, that's a great way to look at that. It's all about perspective and sort of where you're at, and like understanding that people are that way. And oh, by the way, you expect your clients to invest in you for their business. Well, then why aren't you investing in your business? So if you're not investing in your business, how can you expect other people to invest in their business with you? That's the other question. So turning it back on its head. I don't know if that answers your question well, but that's kind of where I come from on that. Okay, cool. Hey Chip, how are you? Oh yeah, so Chip also works with agencies actually. Hey Chip, so I'm talking to them about this. So joining late, so you may have already discussed, but your time is the biggest investment you can make in your biz. Free up your time for your highest best use. Absolutely. So 100% true. And we did talk about this a little, not exactly in that way, Chip, but what I told them was that you have to invest in your business, like get the help that you need so that you can be freed up to have your visibility content, that you're out there and you're being visible. And that's really what I'm kind of teaching, is how to be visible, and how to bring that up so you get those word of mouth referrals and those kinds of things. And yes, your time is extremely important. So if you're spending, like I was saying, talking about a spreadsheet earlier, I'm $125 an hour, and I could pay somebody, say $20 an hour to wrangle the spreadsheet or less. Nicholas was talking about his VA is $3 an hour, right? He's in Thailand. But the bottom line is that you can basically pay for that VA to work for you even the whole month based on just a couple of billable hours, right? That they're taking off your plate. So it's a little bit of a mind shift. And yes. Don't your clients want to work with you personally, given all your experience and knowledge? How do you? Yeah. Okay. So yes, some of them do. But you know what? I build my team up. You know that. My team is amazing. And so I hire great people, number one. And number two, I introduce them early in the process. So, we get on a phone call and I bring them with me and I defer to them a lot. Like I'll say, oh yeah, well, Kimberly would know that, or Katie. And so I defer to them a lot right in front of the client. I defer to them and I ask them questions and I put them up front and I make them the leader of the calls. And you know what that does for me is I can kind of back off and people start to go to them. They just naturally start to go to them, which is great in the business. And so then that leaves me time to come here and talk to you and have this kind of a thing. So yeah, I do show up. For some of my clients, I do it quarterly. So for my bigger clients, I might do a quarterly strategy session with them, to make sure that we are continuing to keep that relationship and the strategy. But at this point, like some of my biggest clients only work with my team. It's kind of crazy, but it does work. You have to give them the authority though, so you have to pass the authority over. Uh-huh. So putting the team out front. Yeah. And starting it during the pitch process. Yeah, I totally do every time, because I do want to have a business where I have a life. I want to have a business where I have a life, and I feel like my team needs to be there, and so yeah, that's really important, and they need a life too. So we need to have. I really put a lot of time and thought into team. It's something that I'd love to share. Maybe I did a live stream, I don't know, it was last year, about building your dream team, that I think is pretty good live stream. If I can find it, I know I can find it. If I can find the link, I'll put it in the comments later on this. But yeah, having a dream team is just like really critical for me anyway, because I want to go on vacation and I want to be able to, I have 3 kids and they're all like teenagers now, and this is the time for me to really spend with them. They won't be here that much longer. And when they were little, I wanted to spend time with them too. And so that's why I started having my own business to begin with, because I really wanted to spend time with my kids. And I was in corporate America and it was great, but I didn't have the time that I have now. So yeah, absolutely. So let me see what else you said. Yes, and time. Yeah, time is something you never can get more of, no matter how big your business gets. That is 100% true. You cannot get any more time in your day. It's unfortunate. I wish we could. And I'm not going to say I've got this totally licked, but I'm better. I'm so much better than I used to be, and I've learned how to do it. And it's really through systems. It's really through systems and so forth. And I really do want to help those of you who are consultants and coaches to get those under control. Like, so let me know, like, what you want to know about, and I'm going to be here talking about this. So awesome. All right, Juan. Well, I appreciate you being here too. Thanks for coming. So that's it. I'm going to make it short and sweet. I kind of went over my half hour a little bit because I'm passionate, but definitely get on my list so that I can keep in touch with you about these topics. I'm probably going to do a masterclass in a couple of weeks, maybe like June, end of June. I haven't put it exactly on the calendar, but I will within the next week or so put that on the calendar. And we're going to like talk about what exactly you are struggling with, and then come up with some ways to manage that. So definitely get on the list, let me know. And then next week, be back here for the funnel. I'm going to teach you how to bring people into your world. So anyway, thanks for showing up. And Chip, I appreciate it too. And thanks, Nick, and all of you. I appreciate you. You're all watching from different platforms, so you think you're by yourself, but there's a bunch of you here. So thank you very much, and I will talk to you soon. Definitely share this with someone who you think needs it. So if you have a friend who is a consultant or a smaller, business like that, a coach, maybe coaches people or, sells services, send them this video because it's so, so important. We do not need to be the cobbler's shoes people. We need to be people that are putting our business as our number one client. That is absolutely critical for us to do this because it is our business, and we need to value it and value our time and value what we have and what we're building. So let me know, and definitely share it with somebody that you know, and let's get the word out. Like, put your business as your number one client, please, 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 please. And let's talk about how we can do that. So take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.